if you want to go beyond your family story, that you want to be thinking about, well, who else will be affected by this? Do I want to write it for other people? And those are some of the first questions is, what's my intention? What do I want to do? What's my hope for this story? Is it for a family story, or is it for something larger? Am I writing it, I was talking to Clyde earlier this morning, am I writing it for my dad, about his story, or am I writing it for something that I'm going to discover about me in the story? And no matter what happens, if you write it, you'll discover things about yourself, but it's sort of who is your audience is a good question to ask yourself as you start to organize. And then the second big question is, what do I feel deeply about? What's going to be my attitude about this story? I often, I don't know, I love Oprah books, but I have sort of made myself not read a lot of them because I always get mad at the end of some of them. And one of them that I read, I just loved it, was the tale of Edgar Sawtelle, which is about these dogs, and it was so beautifully written, and I stayed up till 2:30 in the morning, and sometime about 1:30, and I'm reading it out loud to Jerry. I thought, this is not going to have a good ending, this is not going to go anywhere. Why am I still reading it? Because it was so beautiful, but I was so mad at myself because frequently that happens, and I always sort of think at the end, what was the attitude of that writer? What did they feel deeply about? Was it about that life is full of tragedy and there's no hope? Because that's how I felt at the end of that book. Despite the fascination of the dog breeding and all that sort of thing, which was fascinating, but it was that hopelessness that left me upset at the end of that book. But if you think about books that you've loved and you think back, well, I wonder what their attitude, what are they saying about life? What was it that drove them into wanting to tell that story? What emotional connection did they want to make as they wrote that story?